Welcome to the Dr. Mudgil podcast. This is episode 195. We are basically smack dab in the middle of August here. As you guys know, we record this content on Thursdays, and on Saturday the podcast comes out. But today, Thursday, it happens to be my 21st wedding anniversary. So I just want to first and foremost wish my beautiful wife a very happy anniversary. And here's to the next 21 years. It's been an amazing ride that literally went by in a blink of an eye. My eldest is leaving for college next week, so this is our last full weekend with her. I will be assembling some stuff that'll be in her dorm room. We're going to drive down next week, and it's going to be a bittersweet moment. I'm very proud of her, and she's going to do amazing things. But Dad is a little bit of a mushball, and I already know, and my family's already clowning me about it because they know I'm going to be an absolute mess. But we'll get through it. So lots of exciting stuff happening, and let's just get right into it. So I speak a lot about trusting the process and getting your daily wins, and just believing that the work you're putting in is going to pay off. And I have a very sort of poignant story to demonstrate that. So as I mentioned, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 podcasts ago, I'm obsessed with my landscaping and my lawn and flowers and all that sort of stuff. I planted a bunch of stuff. We were having a bunch of folks over for my daughter's graduation from high school, and we had some new plantings I had on my patio that weren't looking great. So I talked about in my podcast about I was taking my lumps, and I pulled out everything that we planted, and I planted a whole bunch of new stuff because I wanted things to really pop. We were having folks over, and I wanted things to look great. And it's basically I kind of paid double for this. All the stuff I planted, I took out and I replanted new stuff. But it turns out a lot of the new stuff I planted, it looked great for the day, but a lot of it didn't survive. And the reason why it didn't was because the way the rotors for my sprinkler system were, they were smashing into some of the new plantings, and it was a whole constellation of things. There was a heat wave. All kinds of stuff went awry, and my new plantings didn't make it. Funny enough, my landscaper, I'm very close with my landscaper, and he's more than just a landscaper. Landscaper, that title doesn't do him justice. He's a landscape designer, architect, just a genius when it comes to this stuff. He's also / landscape therapist for me because I freak out about stuff, and I call him. He walks me off the ledge and says, "Don't worry, Doc, we're going to take care of it." Interesting enough, my landscaper, Rocco, amazing guy, he listens to the podcast. And I sent him pictures of all the new stuff that we planted that was dying. He came, checked it out. We walked the property together, and he said, "Hey, Doc, listen, I listened to your podcast." And I even showed it to my son, and I want to take my lumps. I'm going to take the stuff out. I'm going to replant it on me. But we're going to do it, when it's the proper time to plant, which is in the fall. So basically all of your perennial stuff goes in the fall, and then it pops in the spring. We planted in the peak of the summer, right in June, and it was and he did warn me that's probably not the best time to be planting stuff, but sometimes I'm just a fool, and I just need to do what I need to do. In this case, we're prepping for having some folks over, and I needed my property to look pristine. But anyhow, Rocco's a good man. And what we figured out was, part of the reason that the new plants didn't survive or didn't thrive was because the sprinklers were pounding against them. It was basically they were getting punched in the face every night when the sprinkler system went off. So I called my irrigation guy, also amazing guy. He's an amazing company. And we came up with a solution together, the three of us. We ended up installing a drip irrigation system, those new plantings by my patio. And, we moved a bunch of the rotors out. But when you do this, you have to rip up a lot of the grass and lay new hose and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I don't know what the technical terms are, but I think that's pretty much, you can understand what I'm talking about. So you have to move stuff. So you have to take the grass out. They got to, they basically, they cut it and fold it out and put the hose in and move the rotors and whatever stuff they do. I mean, it's a very complex process, at least to someone just casually observing this. And then they put the grass back. And this was also, it was a very hot July. As you've heard me say many times over, the most important part of any anti-aging skin regimen is using a proper sunscreen, namely one that's at least an SPF 30 and contains titanium or zinc or both, I couldn't be more excited to announce the launch of these two amazing Dr. Mudgil brand sunscreens. One is tinted, one is non-tinted, depending on what your preference is. I also have an amazing hydrating and moisturizing serum, which your skin is absolutely going to love. There's a link in the description below, which you can click to check out the products. You are going to love them as much as I do. Over the course, after they did this work, like a week or so after, my grass just started like dying. Like, there's just like patches of dead grass, and I was getting very, very, very stressed out about it. So I took some pictures, I sent it to Rocco. I said, listen, we got a problem here. Grass is not doing well. And, it's right outside of our main seating area in our house. So I was looking at it every day, and it was just driving me absolutely insane. I went to my bedroom, it looks over the backyard, and I would see it. And, I was getting very stressed out about it. So Rocco came, took a look with his grass specialist, and we were like, okay, I think it's going to come back, and, we just need to do, maybe just try to water a little bit more, be a little bit more observant of when it's dry and hot and that sort of thing. So in my mind, I thought the solution was, let's just rip it all out and put new sod in. Let's get this going. Let's get right to the fix. But obviously that would have been very hasty of me and probably absolutely not the right thing to do. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been literally just dialing in. I have like a million zones, and like I've been dialing in the zones. I have all these micro zones on my property, and I've been really just dialing it in. The sprinklers don't go the day before the landscapers come because the grass is wet in certain areas, and it makes tracks in the grass. So I have that shut down. But the second they leave, I get on my phone. Everything's on your iPhone now, and I water the zones that are drying out. And I've been doing this for weeks. I've been literally just dialed it in, obsessed with my yard. Really got it down to a science, titrating the minutes, getting it all going. And today I looked out at my grass. It actually rained last night as well. And it's turning. It's starting to look green again and starting to really thrive again. And it was a reminder to myself, because I need to be reminded of even the lessons that I talk about in my podcast, that you have to trust the process. You got to get your daily win in, put your daily win in, and over time, so this has been over the course of the last 3 weeks or so, over time, you'll start to see the benefit of all that work you've been putting in. So, I've been perseverating about the watering of my lawn, and I've been really just kind of titrating by the minute the second dose of watering I do to 3 or 4 zones in my house, and it's coming back. So the point of this is, and I'm guilty of this. Sometimes I want the fix right away. I want it to be fixed right away. But frequently, that's not the right way to go about things. You have to trust the process, listen to the experts, Rocco and his grass guru being my experts, telling me what I need to do. And I listened to the prescription that they wrote for my lawn, and I followed it diligently, and that work has paid off. So the reason why I'm talking about this is it's such a paradigm for so many things in life. Like when you're working out, or when you're dieting, or you're trying to I use fitness a lot because that's something where you put a lot of work in and you see the benefit later on. When you get your workout in, you're investing in your future self. You don't see those results that day, you don't see it that week. Sometimes you don't even see it that month. And it's the same thing with my lawn. By making these adjustments in the way I was treating or caring for my lawn, you don't see the benefit of that. You don't see the results of that in a day or a week. It takes weeks to see the benefit of those little small things that you're doing on a daily basis. I was getting my daily win in for my lawn every day. And after weeks of doing that, I'm starting to see the benefit. Still work to be done. Still going to be dialing it in. But I can start to see that, hey, you know what? This is really paying off. This micromanagement I'm doing is paying off. It's the same thing with working out, or being attentive to your diet, or adjusting your diet, or adjusting your macronutrients. You're not going to see those results in a day or a week. You have to wait a month, 4 to 6 weeks. And if you feel like things aren't working out at that point, that's when you make your adjustment. You got to trust the process and tweak slowly. Give it a month, give it 6 weeks. And at that point, things aren't working out, then make the next tweak. You can't tweak things every day because you're never going to see the benefit of those little micro wins that you're getting every day. So that's the moral of the story. Thank you, Rocco, for being so patient with me. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful, restful weekend and are just crushing those daily wins so that you can see the macro benefit of the micro work you put in Let's get it.